All right. So I have Ableton open and my webcam open, and I'm attempting to focus as best I can. It's very difficult. Well, any sound is really coming out of here, but I went out and got my tire fixed, and I came back to my apartment, and there was at least one person up on the roof with a ladder, and I could see the ladder at the end of the hallway. And at exactly 5 o'clock, there was a very loud thud from right above my apartment. And 2 minutes later, there was an extremely high pitched noise that started flooding into my apartment, obviously through the air conditioning system. Um, and it was so abrasive. I immediately started collecting my things to prepare myself to leave the apartment, and I ended up putting in these earplugs that I have because like I have earplugs. Like I keep talking about sound. I ended up getting some earplugs very recently. I found some ones that actually function. I've tried other ones before, but these I specifically have not been wearing them at this point because I am surrounded by this. So it's to block it out is actually it becomes more abrasive. You play this weird dodging game with the sound and you start trying to avoid it, and it almost develops this like fear complex. So if it's not actually abrasive or painful, then there's no like I'm not going to wear earplugs, but I'm still going to talk about it, and it's still bothersome, and it's still ultimately very detrimental. But I'm also not going to sit here and say or pretend that it's okay for me to be forced to wear industrial strength earplugs in my own home. That's insane. And right now, there's like I've talked to I've at least called in and was waiting for a response. I got a response through text, and mind you, I don't really trust anything that I'm getting through the phone necessarily, because anything can be hijacked. And it's like I don't even they said I took a picture of the people who were up on the ladder, and I sent them some picture of who was up there, and like I don't know who's intercepting this shit. I don't know who exactly they would even be, which a lot of this is the point of just making confusion. But the number I got as a text response from my call to the office was saying that they were supposed to be there, which also doesn't really necessarily mean anything, because they could be ultimately be anybody, and they could be saying anything. So these people were up there, and it was highly intentional whatever they did. And I was able to capture some recordings. That's what these recordings are up here. Just to look through, and the noise is there's a very loud, high-pitched noise flooding through the apartment right now, and it is absolutely just going through it, like headphones, anything except for the other headphones I have. Like these headphones don't do much to it. Like the sound just carves right through it, and I'm trying to pick it up on this microphone, so we're going to go into Ableton and see if we can capture it real quick while it's still occurring. But this is like non-livable. Like this you don't want to stay in this apartment. You can't even bear it. You can't, like, it's absolutely ridiculous of a response to what I posted and what's going on. And I think it only really feeds into exactly kind of some of the conclusions I ended up making in the video earlier, and it's just a continuing disappointment. Like, because I'm gonna have to, like, I can't leave my cat in here, so I'm gonna have to deal with this. And it's the thing is, if you walk in here, you can hear it. It's not hidden. You can't hide this shit. I won't even have to share a recording if enough people come in here and listen to it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just going to be a matter of when, because they happen to do it right at the end of a Saturday, right into Sunday. So it's going to take a while to get any work done on it. And anybody who you talk to is probably going to be off the clock, at least for a day or two. I'm going to try to, after I record this, I'm going to try to get a hold of probably emergency maintenance, the actual number, and not listen to whatever text could or could not be sent to me. You have no idea who it is. It could just be some random person. It could be the exact people who just did whatever they did upstairs. It's like, all right. So we're gonna go into Ableton. I'm gonna show you the two recordings. It's just me walking around. Like, I ended up getting on the phone too, so I'm gonna bump it into the high frequencies and try to find some stuff. There's two recordings, another one with the television in the background too, just because I had to turn something on for the cat because it's just that awful. And then I'm gonna attempt to record the sound right now, and I'm sure at least something will come through. But this is like I'm being assaulted in my own apartment, and it's not an appropriate response to anything that's happening at all, like in any way. And having dealt with this, whatever is happening here is echoing in other places. Like, I'm sure they just attacked a bunch of other people, and it's really just it's generally acceptable. I don't know what else to say. It's just not. But let's look through the noise real quick, get a recording of it. All right, we're in Ableton now. This is the sound coming into the apartment right now, and then we'll go through the recordings of a little earlier. Just to explain very briefly, these are... I don't like hearing myself as I talk. This is an EQ and a spectrum, two spectrum analyzers, which are measuring the wavelengths visibly, so you can pop these up. You can see all this stuff. We'll put them on a higher refresh rate, so you go a little faster. These are just to look at the frequencies before and after. And then this is an EQ, which you can control what frequencies, high to lows. Right now it's off, so this is just the audio coming from the apartment. But let me do this to turn that off. Turn this off too. Turn this off too. So this is the EQ. We'll turn the EQ on. It's going to pick out the high frequencies and give a little gain, but that's literally because, like, the sound is coming from the vents. The vents are up. The vents up there. So right now, it's not right next to the source of the noise, and I'm pretty sure we're still going to be able to pick it up. And if it continues, then we'll go even closer to the source of the noise itself. It does sound like it's dropped since earlier. When right at 5 o'clock, it was like I was packing up to leave, and it coincided, and this is something that's been not consistently happening, but occasionally happening and very specific to circumstance. And it's something that it has to do with marijuana. And I've been smoking for a very long time, and it's just kind of something in the background. It doesn't affect me. My body's used to it. And it's never had an issue before with anything like psychosomatic, absolutely nothing. And what is happening is this sound is being amplified at very specific times. And once again, I can record this shit. When I get a chance, like, I have a bunch of recordings that I can go through, and the sound is being amplified specifically when I smoke. It's specifically being tuned down when I drink coffee or caffeine, and it's specifically being tuned up when I smoke. I haven't smoked for 4 or 5 days, mind you, and this sound has been going on in the background most of the time. And they don't like weed. They really don't like weed, and it's because they're trying to manipulate and control everybody. And by they, I mean the people who are controlling the system, and people that I have offhand vaguely mentioned and talked about that are behind some of the control of the system. They do not like it. It breaks free people's perceptual states, specifically dissociation. It's you would think it's kind of causes dissociation. It doesn't. It actually makes you much more aware, just in a much more relaxed way, and it completely just obliterates any form of complex or any sort of like serious mechanisms they're trying to plant in people's minds psychologically. Like it just does. They don't like it. So I've noticed that they're specifically turning this sound on and amping it up around times when I smoke. Very often when I take a day or two break and then I start smoking. Like I haven't smoked for 4 or 5 days and I took one singular hit. And then this event occurred where right at 5 o'clock, a physical thud came from right above my apartment where there were people working on clearly the air conditioner, part of the air conditioner, and all of a sudden this sound is beyond anything anybody would be able to bear for more than maybe an hour or two without earplugs. And it is pretty quiet now, but let's go into Ableton. And I'll keep rambling about this, but that's just because I'm so done with this, and I have only a few mechanisms of communicating with people at this point. And I gave an hour-long talk earlier on a video, and it was almost therapeutic in a way. It helped me sort through some of these issues, and it helped me kind of process exactly what's been going on in my life, because it was true. It's all true, so it's exactly what's happening. And I am doing this again, and I'm honestly more comfortable talking in front of a screen because I'm being forced to do this. And I just want to point out that this is not the right way to do this. It's not the right way to do this. But we're going to go into Ableton, and we're going to look at the sound a little bit, because you can definitely hear it. And the thing is, even if that particular extremely abrasive sound suddenly fixed itself, we still got the electricity running in the background. That still needs to get worked on. And it's still going to be there anyway, so. Alright, so we're going to turn the EQ on and hit the frequency, and then just look at the highs of the... First, we're going to do the mic and the room and the apartment itself right now. And then I'll go through the recordings of earlier. The recordings of earlier, I do hop on the phone. I'm making noise in the background. So I'm going to probably turn the frequency up on it just to avoid you hearing me moving stuff around or knocking stuff around or talking. I give my mom a call just to let her know the situation, because she's one of the few people who I continue to communicate with who is honestly forced to be in my life. And therefore, it's a certain situation in which I don't feel like I'm technically inviting anybody into any situation, because she was already in the situation to begin with. So it's one of the few technical people that I just will continue to correlate with. And she is helping me too, and my parents are helping me. So that's also a reason, but